Hey, what is up everybody? It's Animac here for AnimeUproar, and today I will be covering the insane developments in the Black Clover manga. Everything from crazy new overpowered magic spells to Noelle finally admitting that she likes Asta. This chapter had love, it had war, and everything in between, so let's get into it. If you enjoyed the Black Clover content on this channel and you want to see more, you know what to do. Leave a quick like and comment. It only takes a second, but it helps with the YouTube algorithm. And if you're new to AnimeUproar, or maybe you watch our videos but you just haven't subscribed yet, do me a favor and make this the video that you subscribe and hit that notification bell to turn on all notifications. You can also hit me up on Twitter and Instagram at AnimeUproar. Finally, this video will of course contain Black Clover manga spoilers, so please proceed with caution, you have been warned. The story picks up right after Asta manages to prevent Megicula from literally exploding as a result of Megicula's curse. However, Asta confirms what I had speculated about in my previous video. He was able to use the Demon Destroyer sword to absorb some of the curse and prevent the actual explosion, but he was not able to completely eliminate the curse/curses from Loro's body. In my last Black Clover video, I mentioned that if Asta could just absorb the entire curse in like 2 seconds using the Demon Destroyer sword, then Megicula's overpowered status would quickly collapse since the Demon Destroyer sword could be the ultimate weapon against her. But after all of that build up for Megicula and her magic, that would be way too easy, so I had a feeling that Asta's curse absorption abilities would be limited. They had to be in order to make things more interesting. For his part, Liebe is shocked to see that Megicula is here. He refers to her as the Supreme Devil, and he says that she definitely shouldn't be here now since only the first gate to the underworld has been opened. Liebe knows that Megicula belongs on a far lower floor within the underworld, perhaps even the very lowest floor, so seeing her here so soon understandably confuses him. Liebe also makes it very clear to Asta that without their Devil Union mode, they don't stand a chance against Megicula. She is just too powerful. But with that said, Megicula is already impressed with Asta. He was able to negate a portion of her curse even within Decaying World. And so Megicula can tell right away that this must be the legendary anti-magic human whom she has been hearing so much about from Vanica. Megicula is fascinated by the concept of anti-magic, but she's also working on a tight schedule, so she declares that playtime is over. Asta could prove to be a lot more trouble than he's worth if Megicula doesn't take care of him right now, so she prepares to kill both Vanica and Loro in order to manifest fully into this world as soon as possible. Okay, hold on a minute. Is Megicula really saying that Vanica still isn't dead after all that happened to her? I feel like most of us had just assumed that Vanica was already done for since her body looked like it had been wrecked beyond recognition. If Vanica isn't even dead yet, then we honestly can't assume that anyone is dead, and that includes Gaia. And this type of stuff has been Tabata's MO throughout the series. So yeah, unless someone is directly confirmed to be dead, you can't assume that they're really dead. And in some cases, like with Julius, even direct confirmation of death doesn't mean that the person is really dead. Just as Megicula attempts to activate the curses and end Vanica and Loro's lives, Charlotte steps back into the fray and her magic succeeds in negating the effects of Megicula's curse, at least for the time being. But Megicula doesn't understand how this is even possible. Charlotte was clearly defeated, and she was out of magic, and yet now she has somehow managed to recover way sooner than expected, and her magic power is actually rising. That is when Rill steps in and explains what's going on. Earlier on, when Rill used his Twilight of Valhalla spell, we were under the impression that Megicula managed to suppress it and render it useless. But that is not what really happened. Rill reveals that Twilight of Valhalla has a powerful effect, but it took a while for this effect to activate. Namely, while Twilight of Valhalla is active, it increases the magic power of all of Rill's allies within a certain range. And if that wasn't enough, no matter how much damage Rill and his allies take, they will not die as long as they are within range of Twilight of Valhalla. Whoa, that is such an insanely useful spell to have in any team battle. And since Black Clover is full of team battles, this is a huge development. Now, Twilight of Valhalla appears to only last a few minutes, and once the spell disappears, all the damage that Rill received during the time that it was active will return to him. So there are definitely drawbacks and there is a time limit, but Rill is willing to make that sacrifice if it means defeating Megicula. Rill also explains that the spell had not taken effect when Asta showed up. So Rill was not able to save Loro himself, and if Asta didn't arrive at that exact time, Loro would have exploded and everyone would have been killed. Thankfully, Asta arrived and bought Rill enough time to create the ultimate magical painting, Twilight of Valhalla. Megicula is once again impressed and fascinated by her human opponents, although to be fair, she's probably impressed because she started out completely underestimating them. Megicula concludes that on their own, humans tend to be weak and insignificant for a supreme devil like her. But when they work together and combine the unique effects of their various magic attributes, humans can become a truly formidable force. So now we have a battle to the death within the same narrow space between Decaying World and Twilight of Valhalla. Between Megicula on the one side and Asta, Noelle, Charlotte, and Rill on the other. But just when it looks like Megicula might be losing her advantage on the battlefield, she reveals yet another insane magical ability. It turns out that Vanica and Megicula created an entire army of living corpses made of blood and steel. This army is made up of 100 magical zombies who emerge from the ground and begin attacking our heroes. And these zombies are not just like random weak humans, they are all former Dark Disciples who were essentially sacrificed for this very purpose. Again, I have to say that Megicula's curse magic is so freaking versatile and so useful as long as you have enough prep time. And since this battle is taking place on Megicula and Vanica's home turf, Megicula probably has a ton of tricks up her sleeve. Now, the fact that these Dark Disciple zombies are made of blood and steel made me think of Asier Silva. Vanica has blood magic, so that checks out, but is the steel magic a reference to Asier? Could this be a clue that one of the Dark Disciple zombies may turn out to be Asier herself? I mean, probably not. I assume that her body would not be here, but if that were the case, it would be absolutely horrifying for Noelle. Imagine Noelle having to fight against her own mother in zombie form after everything that she has gone through already. Man, that would be so rough, and I definitely don't want to see Noelle dealing with that. Although, to be fair, this would lead to yet further development of her character, and Noelle's character development has been a major theme in these past few chapters. Moving on, even though Asta is there on the battlefield, other than saving Loro from certain death, there isn't much that he can do to help the rest of his friends defeat Megicula. At least not for the time being, because he needs the Devil Union mode to be able to make a real difference in battle, and as of right now, he is still unable to access this transformation. Asta needs more time, which means that Noelle and the others are going to have to step up. And that is exactly what our girl Noelle does. Just the fact that Asta is now there beside her gives Noelle strength, and it inspires her to keep on fighting. In fact, it is in this moment that Noelle finally admits to herself that she really likes Asta. I mean, we've all known this for a very long time, but internally Noelle has been trying to run away from this fact up to this point. And yet now, finally, Noelle has come to terms with her massive crush on Asta. And that is a huge freaking deal for all of us Asta x Noelle shippers. I mean for all of you shippers, because I am definitely not a shipper, you guys. Seriously though, Noelle's character has progressed so much, and she is now finally able to admit her feelings for Asta. Now of course, admitting them to herself is one thing, and that is important character development in and of itself, but is Noelle going to have the courage to actually publicly confess her love directly to Asta? Are we going to see Charlotte and Noelle confessing their love to Yami and Asta at the end of this arc? That would be kind of awesome when I think about it, and I can't wait to see them all going on incredibly awkward double dates. And of course, if Yami ends up with Charlotte and Asta ends up with Noelle, that means that I get Vanessa to myself, so everybody wins. Anyway, being the absolute Chad lass that she is, Noelle doesn't fixate too much on romance because she knows that she is on a battlefield. Once again, Noelle vows to take down Megicula, and she suddenly transforms into her final Saint stage form. That is how this insane chapter ends, and man, was this ever hype. I'm guessing that Noelle was able to use Saint Stage again because Twilight of Valhalla allowed her to recover enough of her magic to give it another go. Which of course means that Noelle is back in this fight. Since this is a very personal fight for Noelle, it makes sense that she is still taking center stage. I assume that she still can't use Spirit Dive for a while, so I'm thinking that we are about to see Noelle using ultimate water magic in the very near future. Without Spirit Dive, ultimate water magic will be her most powerful weapon against Megicula. Now tell me, what did you guys think of this chapter? Personally, I really enjoyed it, although there were both pros and cons. The big con for me was the fact that Vanica seems to still be alive. And if Vanica ends up surviving this arc and Gaia also survives, then everyone is just going to assume that fights in Black Clover don't really have any stakes because no one ever dies, not even side characters. On the other hand, I loved seeing Noelle's continued character progression, and I'm just so impressed with her and I'm really rooting for her, both in this fight and in her romantic pursuit of Asta. I also like the fact that Asta's Demon Destroyer sword isn't just some overpowered silver bullet that can negate all of Megicula's curses in an instant. This means that the fight against Megicula will indeed continue, and that it is going to be extremely interesting. So, is Noelle about to use ultimate water magic, and is that going to be enough to defeat Megicula, or are we going to have to wait for Asta to get back into Devil Union mode? Also, do you think that Noelle will actually confess her feelings to Asta once this epic battle is over? Finally, do you accept me shipping myself with Vanessa as canon? Let me know down below. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more Black Clover content, please leave a like to let me know. It only takes a second, but it helps a lot. And of course, while you're here, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell to turn on all notifications. You really have to go through the trouble of subscribing, hitting that bell, and then selecting the option that says all. If you don't do that, you're still gonna miss a ton of our videos, even if you are subscribed. It's just how YouTube works. You can also hit me up on Twitter and Instagram at AnimeUproar. I want to give a big thank you to all of our AnimeUproar patrons for making videos like this one possible. Special thank you to Alpha Sigma. He is an absolute mad lad and disciple of Lord Twigo himself. And I can't forget all of our The One tier patrons, the ones who rise above all other clans, including Ingrata, Pate Hefa, Aljatal, Hinokami and Water, The Toasted Chi, The Spike, Emperor Otaku, Spidey Life Tanel, Tungsten Tarkus, Baked Buddhist, Cody Hebert, and Monkey D. Quilly. Finally, thank you also to our Pro Hero tier patrons, including the one and only Gilgamesh, the Red-Haired Raven, Angel Cruz, Rathuin Deora, Very Gucci, Alicia Akhtar, Bonnie Parks, Joanne Garcia, Ted No Ted, Fatboy Games, Corey McGowan, and Soul Ray Slice and Dice. If you enjoy our videos and you feel that they provide value to you, consider supporting us on Patreon. Even a single dollar will give you access to our patron exclusive Discord, and your name will appear in our videos along with these legendary people. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, see ya, Space Cowboys.